everyone on the internet. How are you? I'm Els. Welcome to my YouTube video. I realised that it's been quite a while since I've done a sort of wrap up and talked about books that I've read. And it's also been a while since I've done my roots. Like, I don't naturally have bright red hair and the colour's kind of faded a bit, so I talk about books while dyeing my hair, and this is going to be a long video because I can't pause it because then I'd have to touch my screen, and like, I should not do that if I got hair stuff. Anyways, onto the video. Okay, these are all the books that I've read in February so far. There's 17 of them. Because I have a book reading obsession, which is super odd. So the first one I read was an ebook, which is called Before the Crown by Flora Harding, which is about the romance between Elizabeth II and her husband Prince Philip before she was the Queen, when she was never meant to be the Queen. So it's about them falling in love and things like that, and it was a nice book. I liked it, so I gave it a 5 out of 7. I'm just pinning my hair out the way so I can put Vaseline everywhere. Lol. Then I read a book called Dracula's Guest by Michael Sims, which is a compilation of short stories and discussion about the development and exploration of the presentation of vampires in the Gothic genre, before and up to Dracula by of all the times to forget someone's name. Part of me is like, oh yeah, it's by someone called Brad, and it's not. Oh well, it's a pretty well-known book, you'll know which one I'm talking about. So yeah, I really loved that, and I gave it a 7 out of 7. Where is the Vaseline? Right here. Then I read The Familiars by Stacey Halls, which is, it's set just before the Pendle Witch trials, when a woman is pregnant and she's previously had lots of miscarriages and so on. So she doesn't want to have a miscarriage again. She obviously wants to have a child. So she has gone to a sort of healer, a woman who knows lots about herbs and things and how to keep the baby safe. But obviously it's a very dangerous thing to go to that person because of like the people worrying about witches, because sabbatic witchcraft was very frowned upon at the time, even though all they were doing was just like being nice to people, healing them, like mind your own business. But yeah, I really liked that story in the end. Not going to spoil anything about what happens, so I gave it a 6 out of 7. After that, I read Everything I Never Told You by Celeste NG. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to say the 2 letters which make up her surname. It was a sort of thriller. It's about a girl whose sister had died, essentially, and it surrounds how she copes with grief and a few other bits and bobs, and I guess it sort of turns into a bit of a thriller mystery by the end, which is interesting, but it's not the typical genre that I read and enjoy, so I gave it a 4 out of 7 because it's not my genre per se. Then, I read Emma by Jane Austen. I absolutely love this one. I love like the romance. I was so close to tears when there was like the confession of love. It's another Jane Austen novel. It's about this person called Emma. She's quite smart and she sets people up together. And yeah, she creates relationships for other people, and it's a really nice story. And I loved it, so I gave it a 7 out of 7. I know I'm basic, but I love Austen. I think she's so cool. Then I read Period by Emma Barnett, which is about getting rid of the stigma around periods, because half of the people in the world experience it. Over half, probably, based on like proportions, like 52%, genetically have periods. And because so many people have periods, I don't get why it's seen as such like a taboo topic to talk about, I guess. Well, I know why. It's because of the patriarchy. And I hate the patriarchy. Like I hate capitalism. And this is kind of hard to do when I'm not putting this down somewhere. I'm just squeezing the colour into the bottle. But yeah, I found that really interesting. I give it a 6 out of 7. I really liked it. It's quite a short read as well. And then I read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, because yet again, I'm a basic classics reader. I am very basic. I love things that are popular because I am basic. So yeah, I loved it. I gave it a 7 out of 7. It was a collection of stories about Sherlock Holmes, who's this detective dude, and his roommate, who is a doctor dude. And then I read, The Accused by Constance Briscoe. This was I'd say it's basically a crime novel. I find it hard to like describe crime novels because they all have a similar sort of vibe. So I'm just gonna say it's a crime novel. I gave it a 5 out of 7. The next book I read was The G-File by Hakan Nesser. That's also a crime novel. Yeah, I gave that a 5 out of 7 as well. And then I read the Necronomicon because I'm weird. Like, I know this looks weird, but I'm just shaking the hair dye to get the colour to mix. I gave it a 6 out of 7. It was super interesting, and I liked that it also had correspondences between different like belief systems and how they viewed the same things. So yeah, there's the Enochian way, there's the way that Crowley uses, and there's a more sort of pagan way as well. So I found that super interesting. So yeah, 6 out of 7, I can't remember if I've said. And then onto the 12th book that I've read. I feel like I'm actually getting through these quite quickly, to be fair. I think this is fairly well mixed now. So, this one I really loved. First fantasy I've read in ages, and I don't know why I read enough of that anymore because I love the genre. I guess I just get caught up in how much I love classics, and I forget that I also love fantasy as well. So it's Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and I got it for 50p in the charity shops when they were still open, which is crazy cheap. And I loved it. I really loved it. I gave it a 6 out of 7 because it's not a favourite novel ever, but I still really enjoyed it. So I gave it a 6 out of 7. And then the rustling sound is me putting on gloves, by the way, so that I don't dye my hands. Yeah, for some reason, even though I do it once every 5 weeks, I still can't put the second glove on. Oh well, yeah. So it's about this this guy who's I'm using this word not as an insult but as the literal version. He's a bastard son, which means that he is illegitimate, and the royal family has decided that he should be trained to become an assassin. So he becomes this apprentice for an assassin. And that's just what he does. He does training and becomes an apprentice of an assassin. And I'd assume in the next book he actually does some assassinating. My hair is so puffy. Oh well. Alright. Bit 13. I'm getting through this quite quickly actually. Next book is the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, which is the next Sherlock Holmes collection. Oh, not be spilling hair dye. It's fine, this is like a hair dye specific dressing gown that me and my mum wear when we dye our hair. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I gave it a 6 out of 7. Yeah, I know, I look so cool right now in my hair. Lol. Then I read Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly, which is about a deaf girl who learns about music and how to appreciate it without being able to hear it. And I think it's a really just sweet, heartwarming story. So I gave it a 5 out of 7. I didn't absolutely love it. I don't know, I didn't find it very compelling, but that's because it was quite contemporary. And that isn't my general genre. But it is nice seeing that authors are writing about these underrepresented voices. Lol, not me already spilling hair dye on my face. Oh well. There you go. And I read, this book is like a new favourite for me. It's A Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. And oh my gosh, it's incredible. It's from the perspective of Dr. Jekyll's daughter from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde after his death, because her mother has just died, and because of the patriarchy, she has no money, so she's had to like fire all of her house staff, and she has some information on a case for which Mr. Hyde is a suspect of, and she needs some money, so she's gonna give the information for the case for some money, and she gets wrapped up in this case. And of course, who's solving the case? Sherlock Holmes. And there's also mention of Frankenstein and scientists trying to create different experiments based on that. And there's sort of modern alchemy based on previous science, and it's super interesting to me, I think. Everything super duper interesting I found. So yeah. And then, next one I read is The Lessons by Naomi Alderman. You may recognise her from a really popular novel at the moment called The Power, which is like a reversal of the patriarchy, a society where women are in charge. Yeah, there's still sexism, but essentially everything is reversed. There you go. Oh, but I'm actually talking about a different book, aren't I? The Lessons by Naomi Alderman. It's kind of dark academia, but like a contemporary dark academia. It's about these students who go to a school and they're living their lives, and then afterwards they're not in school and they keep going back and forth between school stuff and not school stuff, and it's just like about their lives. And I don't really want to spoil anything in case anything can be considered a spoiler, because it's all very daily lives kind of thing that happens and so on. Yeah. And then I haven't rated that. I gave it a 5 out of 7. And then the last book, this is actually an audiobook that I listened to, and I finished it earlier today, while I was making lunch, lol. It's P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern, and I thought this was a really sweet story, okay? It's about this woman whose husband has just died. He died quite young. She's around 30-ish. I can't remember her actual age because my memory is terrible. And yeah, her husband gave her a list of things to experience after he passes away. And so there's an envelope for each month, and on each month she has to do a certain experience, and it's a really nice story of how she goes through that and also deals with grief and the world changing after his passing. And I thought it was just a really nice story, so I gave it a 6 out of 7. Ta-da! I've got hair on my hair. It's been about 20 minutes now, so I'm just putting the final pieces and spreading them to the ends of my hair, because obviously that's still red, so it doesn't need as much dyeing. It's just to spruce up the colour a little bit, you know. And then I'll leave that for another 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah. I've cleaned everything up now, and I'm going to film the outro section once my hair's all done and sorted. I completely forgot that I filmed that video, but anyways, it's the next day. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll possibly see you again soon for another video.